Hi, my name's Christine, and this is my first video. I've been kind of scoring the YouTube videos and trying to figure out the perspective of, I know, many atheistic opinions out there, and trying to get an idea of where people are coming from. And one thought that has been prevalent is the idea that just the definition of atheism itself. And it's really a game of semantics. The idea is that atheism isn't disbelief, but rather a lack of belief in God. Or it's not believing that there is no God, but it is a lack of belief in God, as if it's something different. And what I wanted to suggest is that atheism goes beyond that. And I know probably a lot of people say, well, atheism isn't a belief system. But let's look on the flip side of that. And when people say that they're atheistic, basically what they're saying is that everything that we know came to be through, even over time, came to happen by chance. For example, the cell in itself, it's incredibly complex when you start talking about a cell. And to say that you believe that there is no God, forgive me, to say that you have a lack of belief in God would be to say that you believe something came together on its own. And that's faith in a nutshell. I know people will tend to disagree, but when you think about it, a cell is composed of so many parts. You have the actual package that it's in. We call that the cell membrane, which has all the little parts inside of it. That's the case of it. You have the substance through which the little organelles float through. That would be the cytoplasm. You have the organelles themselves, which perform all these various tasks within the cell. And then you have the DNA, which in itself is incredibly complex. It's composed of nucleotides, which is, it's just these 4 type of chemicals, and they're arranged in such a way that they perform specific tasks. And for that cell to function, it needs the DNA, which is a code. It needs to be able to access that DNA and to get the information for how to build the substances that it needs. To put it in another vernacular, let's say a program, and this is this is actually a generous analogy because a computer program is nowhere near the complexity of a cell. But looking at a computer program has all types of, you have to have loops, it is based upon a couple of characters, zeros and ones, really, just a couple of digits, and but with those 2 digits, you're able to comprise an entire program. And with that program, you have to have explicit information, and if the syntax is off just a little bit, your program will malfunction. It won't do what it's supposed to, and it's good for nothing. And so what you're saying is when you say that you believe there's no God, you're saying that you believe that a program came together by itself, whether over time or not. You're saying that it came together by itself. For anything else, you would say, if you were to say Adobe Photoshop, well, obviously that, I know it's incredibly complex, but hey, over time, over years, what happened is the digits, they formed you got the right bases, you got the right information, and it came together, and the information just formed in such a way that it produced the code needed to create a program as robust as Adobe Photoshop. And to say that, as opposed to say, you know what, Adobe Photoshop, that program is just so, it seems like it's so specifically engineered that it would be ludicrous to say that it came together on its own. And but here's my point, that either way, it requires faith. To say that, the cell, the program just came together, and through time you have a program that just you know, was able to compose the right syntax and the right form, and mind you, that's not even thinking about the package that it's delivered in. In order for that program to run, you have to have it inside of a computer. So your computer, the shell that it's going to be in, where it's actually going to run, has to work as well. It has to be put together as well. So to see that all those things came together over time is incredible. And I would project that a cell is just as and more so complex than that, because now you're saying that cell has to be able to obtain and use energy from its environment, has to be able to know how to do that. It has to be able to reproduce itself using its own materials. It has to be able to just know how to tell its organelles and its, you know, tell its own body what to do. You know what I mean? So it's much more complex than people like to think. And so to say that atheism is just a lack of faith, well, I would project that no, you have faith that even though it goes against what you would normally consider for anything else, you have faith that this cell came together on its own. And that's pretty incredible. So anyway, this is my first video. I know that there'll probably be a lot of feedback. So just please keep it kind, and you know, leave your questions. And probably one thing you'll hear me say a lot is the truth doesn't fear questions. And I really believe that. You know, the truth, whatever the truth is, it's not like, you know, I hope people don't find out. The truth is what it is. And so your questions won't change that. Our reasoning, you know, I can reason till I'm blue in the face, but I certainly can't reason God into existence. But I don't have to. If He is, then what we study, what we learn, ought to point back to the fact that He is real and that we can put our faith in Him. So, thank you. Bye.